Hi soulmates, and welcome back again to my channel. If you're interested in the drafting of this princess bustier, then this video is for you. Please like, subscribe, watch to the end, and also share to your friends. Now go ahead and mark a straight line here. This line is going to serve as my shoulder line, so I'll take all my vertical measurement from this line. Now I'm going ahead to mark my underbust. After marking my underbust, I marked my waistline. So the waistline for the front is going to be 1 inch longer than that of the back because of the bust that we are adding to this pattern. So after marking my underbust line and the waistline, I'm going to use my straight ruler to draw a straight line across. Next, I'm going to be marking the shoulder to the bust point. So I'm taking the shoulder to the bust point measurement right now. I'll also mark and I'll use my straight ruler to connect these lines together. So that is all for my vertical measurements for now. Now I'm going ahead to label my shoulder line, my bust point, the underbust line, and lastly the half length. Remember I said the shoulder to the waistline in front is going to be longer than that of the back by just 1 inch. Now I'll go in by half of my shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches. I'll make a mark there. Now I'll mark the neck width. For this tutorial, I'll be working with a neck width of 3.5 inches. Now I'll go ahead and mark a neck depth of 3.5 inches as well, and I'll be connecting these points together. So first of all, I'll go ahead and connect this into a square neckline. This is like a guide to get a round curve neckline. So at this point, I'll connect this way. So I decided to use my marker to continue these markings because the pen I'm using is kind of faint and I want you guys to see what I am marking. So just go ahead and connect a round neckline. So after that, I'll go ahead at this shoulder line, I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope, and I'll be slanting this to the tip of my neckline, just as you see me doing like this. So next, I'll be going down by my chest line. So to get the chest line, go ahead and divide your bust measurement by 6 inches. You're going to add 1.5 inches to that and you make a mark there. Now I'm replacing the shoulder measurements that I marked here in order for me to achieve a straight line. I marked a shoulder, that is shoulder divided by 2, which is 8 inches. Now I'm extending this line this way. So if you're familiar with the basic bodice pattern, you should know how to do this easily. Now at this armhole line, I'm going ahead to divide the measurements I have there. I'll make a mark. Next, from this mark that I made here, I'll be coming in by 0.5 inches. I'll go ahead on this chest line, I'll be dividing my bust circumference by 4 and I'll make a mark there. Now I'm going to be connecting these 3 dots together to give me my perfect armhole. From my shoulder slope to this 0.5 inches that I came out by, I'll connect with a straight line. Then I'll place my curve at that point to meet my bust measurements there. So this is what I have. Next, I'll be going in by my nipple to nipple measurements from this folded part, this part that is closest to me. I'll go ahead and mark the nipple to nipple measurements of 4 inches, which is 8 divided by 2, that is 4. Now at this part, this folded part, the part closer to me, I'll be coming out by 0.5 inches at the underbust line and also at the waistline. Now I'll use the straight part of my ruler to connect it this way. Now at this part going towards the side, I'll be marking 1.25 inches at the under bust line and also at the waistline. I'll connect with the straight part of my ruler this way, and next I'll be connecting from my bust point to my under bust line this way with a curve. So just go ahead and place your curve this way. You can come down from your bust point by 0.5 inches. After curving, you're going to be flipping this curve to the other side, so you'll be able to curve the other side, that is this side, towards the middle. So this is what I have, as you can see. Now at this point, that is the midpoint of my armhole, I'll just be connecting this to my bust point with a curve. So if you have your curve, go ahead and place it nicely this way. You can also use your free hand to do this. So after curving, this is what I have. Now I'll be taking out 1 inch from this armhole this way. So from that line, just come down by 1 inch, and you also be connecting with the same curve to the bust point. So this is what I have. I'll just go ahead and extend this line towards the outside of the armhole, as you can see. Now this line that I have extended, I'll go ahead and replace the 1 inch that I took out. Then I'll make a point there, and I'll be using my curve rule to connect it back to the armhole. So this is the new armhole that I'll be using. I won't be using this other armhole that I first drew out, so I'll be marking this out. So that line is no longer needed. This is what I have. Next, I'll go ahead and take my waist measurements. So I've taken my bust measurements earlier. Remember, I'm just making that mark there to highlight it more. Now at this waistline, I'll go ahead and divide my waist measurement by 4, and I'll be making this mark there. Now I'll measure the dart intake of 2 inches, and I'll be replacing it right there. So after marking the dart intake of 2 inches, this is what I have. Now I'll be connecting this from my bust to the waistline with a straight line this way. So next, I'm going ahead to add my allowance. I'm using a sewing allowance of 2 inches. You can do this on your fabric after cutting, but I'm adding it on the paper. Now I'm shading off this dart allowance here. All this is going to be cut out. These are the parts that we don't actually need for this pattern. So the last thing I'll be doing for this front pattern is the bust dart, but I'm cutting out this first. So I actually forgot the bust dart. Now I'm going to come back to that. Now I'll be taking out a bust dart of 1 inch, because the shoulder to the waist for the front is actually 1 inch longer than that of the back. So that is what I am doing right now. At the bust line, just go ahead and come down by 1 inch, and you'll be connecting this to the bust point this way. So just come down by 1 inch at the bust line and connect to this bust points with a slant line. And I'm also shading this out, so I will be cutting this part out. That 1 inch part is no longer needed, so please pay close attention to see how I am cutting this. So at that line that I marked, I'm just slashing through, and I'll be closing up these bust darts. After slashing out this bust line, you can go ahead and slash out the dart line, that is the middle line of this dart line. That is where you took your nipple to nipple measurements. So just go ahead and tape it down this way. The reason I said you should slash the dart line, that is the middle one, not the one I'm cutting right now, is for you to not have a rumpled look, but it is still okay if you just go ahead and do it the way I am cutting right now. So I'm cutting out the center front of this pattern first. As you can see, I'm cutting out the round neckline, the shoulder slope. So this is the other side, that is the center, that is the side front. Yeah, so I'm cutting off this dart this way, and I'm cutting through to the armhole. I'm cutting off that excess right there at the armhole. Sorry that this pattern is kind of rumpled. I didn't really iron it, so if you don't want a rumpled pattern as this, please just go ahead and iron it first before cutting. So this is what I have. This is my bust dart. Next is the back pattern. I've gone ahead to mark a zipper allowance of 1.5 inches at this side closer to me, that is the center back, and I have the lines drawn out here. I have my bust line and my waistline. Now I'm taking the neck width. The neck width I am working with for this pattern is 3.5. The neck width for the front and that of the back should be the same. You can have differences in the neck depth. I went down by 1.5 inches for the neck depth. I also mark half of the shoulder. I marked the shoulder slope of 1 inch. I slant to the tip of the neckline this way. I'm also coming down by the chest line, that is the bust measurement divided by 4 plus 1.5, and I'm marking this way. So this is just it. This is the exact same thing I did for the front pattern. Sorry that this one is a little bit fast. This is my bust measurement that I took, my bust measurement divided by 4, and I'm connecting my armhole this way with my curve. So next I'll go ahead and divide nipple to nipple divided by 2. The nipple to nipple I'm working with is 8 inches divided by 2. I have 4. I marked that at the bust line and at the waistline, and I'm connecting this with a straight ruler. So this is what I have. So at the waistline we're taking a dart of 1 inch. So I took half an inch on both sides of the waistline, and I'm connecting it this way to the bust line with a slant this way. So this is what I have. So I'm just going ahead to get the midpoint of my armhole. I'll make a mark there, and I'll be connecting this with a curve to the bust line, that is the darts line, this way. So just go ahead and use a curve, not too curvy, just a little curve, that point. So next at that midpoint, come down by 1 inch, and you'll be connecting with the same curve to the bust line this way. So still extend that line, and you'll be marking 1 inch, that is you are replacing 1 inch that you took out. You're replacing the 1 inch that you took out at the armhole this way, and you'll be connecting this back into the armhole just like we did for the front. So we are marking out the first armhole that we did because that armhole is no longer needed. So now I'll go ahead and divide the waist measurement by 4. I will place that intake of 1 inch here. I will connect this to the bust measurement this way with my ruler. And next I'm adding a sewing allowance of 2 inches just like I did for the front, and I'll also connect, and I'll be cutting this out. So you always want to pay attention to the areas that we are cutting. But lastly, I'll be taking out the zipper bulge. As you can see, I've gone ahead to extend the bust line and the waistline to the zip area. Now at the waistline I went in by 0.5 inch at the zipper area. Now I'm slanting this towards the neckline this way. So this is to prevent zipper bulge. So I'm still going to go up at this waistline by 0.5 inch, and I'll also be connecting it towards the darts line. Now this is just to eliminate any kind of zipper board. So just go ahead and do this, and you'll be cutting out this pattern. You can see I'm shading this off. It is no longer needed. I'm going ahead to label this part as the zipper part. So this is what I have, and I'm also extending the neckline this way to my zipper. So I will just go ahead and cut this out. So I'll use my scissors to cut. Like I said, you always want to pay attention to the areas that we are cutting out on this pattern, so you don't make any form of mistake. So this is all for the drafting of this pattern. Please, if you have watched to this point, like, subscribe, share to your friends and soulmates, and also drop a comment for me in the comment section, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.